Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Think Clinical podcast. My name is Hamza. It's always amazing to be here. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, and sharing our channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about a project that I've been working on for a long time now, and this is important to me because even though life and circumstances do not allow us to predict what would happen in the future, especially in a very, very dynamic industry like the healthcare industry, we have to be careful that going into it, we are not blind to the fact that there are realities that have shaped the success of some of the most successful startups we've had. So in reviewing this over the last couple of years, it's been important to me to start looking at those features, those things that have informed the success or otherwise of these companies, of these startups. What has been important in these startups that have been able to keep them successful? Because mind you, 90% of healthcare startups fail. And when you follow the data, you would understand that they just don't fail because the idea is not good. Most healthcare ideas, if you've worked with startup founders for a while, you would realize that they're really, really, really good ideas. But there's a reason why 90% of these fail. What the tool I developed was to make sure that can we look at this in a way that helps us predict at least the odds of success. Can we predict the odds of success in the life of the entrepreneur? Can we fix some of these blind spots before it's too late? This is the tool that I built, and I call it the Healthcare Entrepreneur Scorecard. The Healthcare Entrepreneur Scorecard is supposed to put you in a position where you can objectively evaluate from your personality all the way to everything else that could inform your success and increase your odds. If we can predict these odds, in my opinion, it would be the best way for healthcare entrepreneurs to approach the healthcare space. Now, I was able to build out four pillars, four frameworks that I think would inform or let you understand at least the odds of you succeeding or not in this healthcare space. And I'm going to walk you through that today. Now, if you want the full tool to be able to evaluate yourself, you can leave a comment down below with your email address, or you can let us know you want to email us. We'll send you the link for you to do the assessment, and you'll be able to find out where you stand or how much you score in this. Again, if you want the full breakdown of how to score yourself, because each of these has 5 parameters, so you can score either 1 or 5 out of each of these blocks that I have. I'll just give you an overview of what those 12 pillars look like, but if you want to do a full evaluation, reach out to us. We'll send you the full tool, and then you can do your own evaluation and let us know how that came out for you. Now let's talk about the 12 pillars. Now I have what I call the foundational 4. What are the foundational 4 that you need to be able to have or look into when you are moving into this space? Because you as a founder, you as a CEO, you as the leader of the startup, you should possess certain foundational traits, certain foundational characteristics that increase your ability or your resilience to be able to get through all the uncertainties that may come up and increase the odds of being successful. The first one is your personality trait. Now, resilience isn't even an option. So when you are looking at your personality, one of the things that I realized is that resilience runs through all the different healthcare startups that I came across. Now, Harvard Business Review found that grit, which is perseverance, passion and perseverance for a long-standing goal, is 2 or 3 times more important than IQ. Now, which means that if you want to thrive, and you need to be able to evaluate yourself, that if you are going to thrive, you have the grit to be able to persevere and have the passion for the long term through this. Now, the question you can even ask yourself is that, do I thrive in ambiguity? Like, what if the FDA is delaying and give me some responses? How do I navigate that? So this is very important. So this was the first pillar I found in my foundational 4. The second one is healthcare fluency. How much do you know about healthcare businesses? How much do you understand healthcare businesses? And 72% of healthcare businesses do fail in this space. Now, you can map out everything you need to do as far as your healthcare startup is concerned. You can map out your providers, you can map out, make sure that you have all these things lined up, because if you're not fluent in the healthcare space, your stakeholders, if you don't align your stakeholders well, and these are your payers, these are your providers, these are your regulators, if you don't align them properly, or you don't have the fluency to align them properly, your chances of failing is about 72%. These 72% of these startups fail just because they do not even understand who the stakeholders are and how to align them properly. The third of the foundational 4 is mindset, which is very important because 89% of unicorn founders have obsessive grit. So grit is coming in here again. So you need to realize that your mindset is important as far as your startup and how sustainable it is and how successful it's going to be is valid. That's the third of the foundational 4. The fourth of the foundational 4 is on market validation, which means that have you stress tested your idea against legacy systems? If you are coming up with an electronic healthcare record system, which you think would revolutionize the way medical records are looked at, have you stress tested that at all? That is one important thing that you need to be looking at. So market validation is the fourth of the 4 foundational pillars. So again, the 4 foundational pillars are your personality trait, which resilience stands strong, your healthcare fluency, that's what we found to be very important, your mindset, when 89% of startup founders have obsessive grit, and that's the word. And then we have market validation, which is you putting your idea through the stress test. Now, most founders I have worked with in the present and the past never want to stress test their ideas. They think it's the best idea on the market, but they don't want to expose it to any form of validation or any form of conversation to confirm or refute whether or not they are the best. So that's very important. And these are the foundational 4. Then I look at the make or break factors, which are also 3. Now, the make or break factors are things that I feel they can either make you or break you. So that's the second category. Tech competence is one important thing. Now, AI startups grabbed 40% of 2023 funding. So most venture capitalists were now leaning towards AI startups that were coming up. Now, do you have anybody who has the competence to be able to explain whatever your tech is, the back side of your tech? Or do you have anybody, a CTO, like a chief technology officer, who has the clarity and the skill set to be able to explain your tech or whatever innovation you're coming up with? Now, you look at geopolitical readiness. Now, if you look at a country like Israel, they are so innovative and they've been thriving a lot in the innovative space because there's a lot of their ecosystem thrives in government grants. So there are a lot of government grants available. Do you have any of those? Those can make or break you. Tech competence can make or break you. That's what I'm trying to say here. When you look at ethical alignment, now 68% of providers reject tools that worsen disparities. So people are very, very passionate about healthcare disparities or broking a lot of companies. So do you have any of these? And have you consulted any bioethicist to be able to see if your AI system, for instance, has any biases that could further widen the disparity? Because these again can make or break you. Tech competence is one of them, geopolitical readiness is one of them, and ethical alignment. And if you look at the full scoring system, you will be able to see how the breakdown of this is and how that aligns with your chances of success or your odds of success. I'm not saying if you score high you are definitely going to be successful, but it does increase your odds of being successful. Now the third part of it is the 2 items on scalability and risk mitigation. So are you looking at the exit playbook? I call this the exit playbook. How are you going to scale? Have you asked yourself that you have a scalability plan? Risk mitigation. Have you, a company like Theranos, ignored this? Do you have a liability insurance? Do you have a crisis communication plan? Do you have all these things in place? If you don't, then these are things that you need to be looking at. So now you can always calculate this on your own. As I said, it scores from 1 to 5, and when you look at the whole issue, and again when we send you the link, you are going to find all these properly put in the system and scored, so you can just select whatever applies to you and you'll be able to go through it. So I can give you some examples of how this looks like. So first of all, it starts from 1 and it ends at 5, which is from a strongly disagreeing position to a strongly agree position. So these are just things that would point you. So let's look at, if we look at personality traits, which is one of the foundational 4, you talk about, I recover quickly from failures. Do you agree, strongly agree, and go through that? I thrive in ambiguous environments with incomplete information. So these are scoring systems that we put together because we are looking at all the things that could inform your odds of being successful in the healthcare space, and it goes all the way down into your background in education. How much knowledge do you have? That's the competence side. We talk about mindset, which I said was part of the foundational 4. Talk about the healthcare industry fluency. Again, I can map stakeholder landscape. I understand compliance requirements. I track outcomes based. You have to go through all that and score yourself. So by the time you finish with each block, you have to score at least 25 or less. Mostly, if you score 25 and all, then there's a reset problem because you are probably just skewing your results towards being successful. And once you go through, you look at market validation, you look at technological competence. We go through all these pillars that I talked about, and I said there are 12 in all. So at the end of this, you should be scoring about a total of 300. Anything between 250 and 300 is the top 5% of founders. That is what we found from research, that the top 5% of founders would usually be between 250 and 300, which means that your chances of being successful, or whatever idea you're bringing up being successful, for you as a founder and for your idea, is really high. We have 200 to 249, which is like a high potential. There's a strong foundation. You can refine some of, means that some of those pillars need to be refined before you run into the market. When you have a moderate risk, which is between 150 and 199, it's possible you'll survive, but you need mentorship, but you need to pivot several times within the process. And if you're less than 150, you're very likely to fail. So it's something that you probably need to just look or go back and do a whole strategic overhaul. This guide would help you to be able to predict. Again, as I said, this is not a complete guide. This is to give you an overview of what it is. This is heavily backed by research. This is work we've done for over so many years now, to be able to look at these different setups, look at the founders, look at the ideas, look at all the right things they've been able to do, and put them in a scorecard that will help you to be able to predict the chances of your system surviving. So if you need a copy to this full one, comment down below. We will email it to you and you'll be able to take the scoring for free. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you again.